Hi, this is Damien from AtHope, and I'm an Axiological Atheist, and I'm here with my guest. Could you please tell us your name and what kind of atheist you are?
My name is Suzanne Cardiff, and I consider myself a strong atheist.
Okay.
I'm also, if I understand the term correctly, I'm also an axiological atheist.
Okay.
In that I'm not a nihilist.
Right, yeah. Most people who say that they're a humanist and an atheist would be an axiological atheist.
Yeah, so that's how I understand it.
Right, since axiology is value theory and is also the understanding of goodness or good or worth or value of things. And one of the things it would automatically do, an axiological atheist would be someone who puts humans above ideas. In other words, God is an idea, God is not above humans, so humans have worth and God is just an idea. So, but anyway, so you say strong atheist, what does that mean to you?
Well, I consider myself a strong atheist in that I have very strong feelings that there is no creator and that the concept of God and the concept, and even more so, the concept of, or the fact of religion has done more harm than good for human beings. And I feel that we would be better off as a species if we had no belief system in a creator or a higher power. Yeah. And I'm not afraid to discuss those feelings with people.
I agree with you. I'm a very strong atheist. I'm actually an agnostic with an I, which means that all theological concepts to me are talking nonsense. There's nothing real. It's asking me to question should I doubt a God would be like saying should I doubt a child's imaginary friend? No.
Right.
There's nothing reasonable for me to doubt. So that's just, I see it as the same thing. It's also considered to be theological non-cognitivism, which says that the words that they're using, God, what does that mean? They haven't presented anything that's tangible in the real world to even understand what that would mean. Just like it means nothing when you say infinite. What is infinite? No beginning and no end. We since everything in stars die, there's no really conception in the real world of what that would even mean. So, but anyways, so I'm with you totally. And I was wondering, was this something that you always were, or were you raised religious?
My mother attempted to raise me as a religious person, but from a very young age, I started to doubt and question my mother's beliefs and the beliefs that she was trying to basically force on me through fear and intimidation, because it didn't make any sense to me. You know, it was clear to me that prayer was useless because my parents had family friends who had a child who was born with a horrible disease, and they would form prayer circles and pray for him, and he died anyway. So that just led me to believe that this God that they were praying to was either completely imaginary or he was an asshole. Because my mother said God is all loving and all powerful. Well, what loving father gives their child a horrible disease?
Right.
You know, who gives babies cancer? You know? And I just felt that there couldn't possibly be this loving spy that would, give small children cancer and make their parents miserable. You know, it didn't follow. It wasn't logical to me. So I started questioning my parents' beliefs, and I think the first time I got into an argument with my mother about religion, I think I was maybe 5.
Wow. You're intelligent.
Yeah. And I've never been one to accept things on quote-unquote faith. I want facts. Show me facts and I'll believe it.
Yeah, I'm that way now. Unfortunately, when I was younger, I totally believed, and I feel more embarrassed about it now. But I mean, so You felt that at a very young age. When would you say that you realized or you considered yourself to be an atheist, or to fully?
Definitely by the age of 7 or 8. I stopped. I refused to go to church.
Wow.
I flat out refused. My mother would, when she got me there, it was kicking and screaming, literally. I would hide rather than go to church. I
Wow.
would, like, sneak out of the house so I didn't have to go to church. And I didn't care what the consequences were, because to me, it was, I would rather take the beating that I was going to get when she found, sit for an hour in church.
Wow. Did she beat you? For
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. She used, like I said, she used fear and intimidation to try and get me to obey the rules of the church.
Yeah, that's one of my biggest problems. People are like, well, how come you're so outspoken against religion? I'm like, well, to me, I will be that way until they stop indoctrinating children. Not only just not forcing their way on adults, but as long as they force their way on children, that will always be a problem for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I find that to be offensive. I mean, I see children as something that you should take care of, not something you own like a piece of your property.
Right.
And,
I agree.
So yeah, that's a disgusting, and that happened to me too. My mom forced me to go to church. That was no freaking way. You didn't even, I couldn't even say no. She would. There's no way. I mean, she would. I had to call the police to get her off me. It would have been no way. But
yeah.
So did you voice this opinion to people that you were in school with, or did that affect any friends in your life, or was it just solely your mother?
It was just between me and my mother. It wasn't a subject that ever came up with my friends, probably until I was an adult. So when I was a child, it was a non-issue. It was only between me and my mother.
And when did that happen as an adult, that you were addressed like that?
Well, I probably in college. There were friends. I had some acquaintances that were very strongly religious, and they would say, "Oh, you're going to burn in hell because you don't have, you don't believe in God." And I'd be like, "Wait a minute. First of all, I don't believe in hell, and I don't believe in God, and you're telling me, this loving, all-powerful person is going to kill me, and not just kill me, make me, live for eternity in, the flames if I don't believe in him?"
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. On the one hand, they say he's all-loving, it's our all-loving father, but what father would consign their child to an eternity of flames?
A non-loving father. Actually, even worse than that, a monster. I mean, that's why I tell people, to me, all gods are moral monsters. I mean, it's not even the fact of saying that they're, evil or bad. They're way surpassed that. It's like, to me, especially when they talk about creation, because let's see, all pain in the world, including psychological pain, would be their creation. That means they're guilty for every pain ever. Yeah, that's who. So, and you wouldn't make someone have pain. And just think, if a corporation builds a product that hurts children, or causes pain, we sue their ass and feel that right in doing it. And if they knew about it, we feel that they're morally repugnant. How much so more would we feel at God? Like you said, it's absolutely, now that I have more logic and reason, it's like, and understand morality, it's insane. It's why, like you said, when they say God is love, you must not know what love is. Exactly. You must have absolutely no concept of what real love is, because you would never say that.
Yeah. It's just, this is not love. This is coercion.
Yeah.
And fear. And and I can remember having this discussion with my mother, saying, "Why do you worship this bloody man on a cross? It's like, you're worshiping a bloody dead person. it was like a freak show to me to go to church. You know, they had this ginormous crucifix, and it was all in Technicolor. So there was this, you know, red blood, and it was frightening to a child, you know. And again, it's just like fear and coercion.
Oh,
and,
definitely.
You know, emotional blackmail.
Yep.
You know, love me, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah. Which we all, which we all, if it was a spouse that did that, you would say, wow, that person is horrific, you know, and abusive. You wouldn't go, oh, that's so loving. Oh, God, loving. You know, you would not. Yeah, I mean, it's like, and threaten you. I'll kill you if you leave or if you love anyone else. You know, it's like, it's total, you know, horrific behavior by a person. But somehow God does it. The most moral being in the world. It's like, what? The same behavior would make one of the worst humans, but the best God?
Yeah, I don't think so. No.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But I've even heard before where they'll say, well, God, because I've done debates, or I've gone to debates when I was living in California, and this one guy said, the reason that he can torture children and all that and not be his fault is he owns us. He has the right to do what he wants. And I was like, you don't know what morality. So, you don't know what morality is.
Like slaves and each thing, right? That's right.
Crazy. Like, you don't understand how sick that sounds.
Yeah, it sounds pretty sick.
And seriously sad. And then you have children you're teaching? Wow, okay, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
That's why
it is fucked up.
Fucked up. Just say that somebody can be tortured and killed, or you said raped, whatever, and it's still moral because God owns us? What the?
Yeah. Fuck that.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't even know how to come back with that. Just like, you're sick. I mean, what?
Yeah.
But so when you experienced people saying this to you, how was their reaction when you told them you're an atheist? I know you said that they said you'd burn in hell. Did you feel any oppression or feel any did they unfriend you or or stop being as friendly to you?
Yeah, well, it was like 50-50. Some of them would try to quote unquote save me, right? Like, well, you need to learn about Jesus' love. Yeah. And then the other half would just kind of treat me like a pariah. Like, we still like you, but we're not quite sure we want to really be friends with you anymore. It's not I didn't feel oppressed.
Yeah.
I felt like I was just this strange other type of person.
Yeah, I had two friends that I knew for like 30 years, no longer my friends, and simply because of being an atheist. And it's sad. I mean,
that's sad.
Most of my family's disowned me, and even like my mom still follows my page or hasn't unliked me that I know of. My dad told me he wanted me to tone it down. The stuff that I was posting was offending him. They're religious. My stepdad, actually, my real father I don't talk to. And I told him I'll solve the problem, and I unfriended him. I was like, you don't want what I have to say. I got a solution for that. I mean, I'm not going to be quiet in my life.
Yeah. Yeah, so, you have to, they have the right to their beliefs. We have the right to our beliefs.
Yeah.
And, there's really no reason that can't coexist, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm against harming other people in general. So I mean, I even have a web page on Facebook of Atheists for Non-Aggression. I am not towards violence at all. I'm hurting people. The only time you should do stuff like that is self-defense or other defense. That's it to me.
Yeah.
Anything else is just abuse.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
But so you really haven't felt in your life that much that you had negative experiences because of being an atheist? Are you just lucky?
Like you say, only with my mother. I haven't really had any like strident Christians, or anything like that. I think most of my friends and most of my family are, they're kind people, and even if they don't agree, we just agree to disagree, we don't fight about it. So it hasn't really been much.
My family's involved in the church, or I should say church is. My cousin's a pastor. My sister and her husband are youth pastors. My mom and my stepdad are assistant pastors. I mean, a lot of deep religion. So they're not very happy at me at all. Oh well.
I don't imagine. Oh well.
Oh well. My mom now has a problem though because I'm still a good human. Actually, I'm a nicer human than I used to be. Which is so funny for me. Becoming an atheist reminded me of humanism. Before I thought I had a right to hate people. I don't feel that way. I feel the exact opposite. Now I feel like I have a duty to the whole world.
Yeah. And does she see the irony in that at all? Does she get that?
Oh, she sees I'm different. She says I'm enlightened. Yeah, true. I removed all the bullshit and dogma and the justified hate, and what do you know? I could become a nicer person.
Yeah. I think, I think you posted a meme that it said good without God, and that's kind of words to live by for me now. I'm good without God.
Yeah.
I don't need God, and I'm still good.
Yeah.
So, and especially, I'm good without religion.
Yes.
I think everybody would be good without religion.
Well, yeah, I totally agree.
I can't. Yeah, I just think religion is the worst thing that ever happened to humans. Honestly, that's my opinion.
Yeah, just like speaking of religion, a lot of people say, "Oh, but Damien, religion gives morality." I'm like, no, it doesn't. It gave this corrupted thing it calls morality, when it obviously is not. I mean, almost every major world religion has sexism against females. Doesn't sound like morality to me. Almost every major religion in the world has homophobia. Doesn't sound like morality to me. I mean, what the fuck? Almost everyone of them oppresses and shames sexuality, which is a normal human behavior. Once again, to me, it's not morality. I mean, this...
Right.
You're calling something morals, but I'm not hearing that. And then they justify, like the Christians and the Muslims, they justify killing people, for beliefs or for your sexual orientation or for it's like, what? That's not morality. There's nothing. That's not even close to it. That's like, I tell people, it's pseudo morality. It's something that supposedly sounds like it, but it's nothing.
The opposite of morality.
Exactly. It's a corruption.
Yeah.
That reminds me, I tell people, when they say, but it gave us a golden rule. And I said, but see, understanding real morality and being an axiologist and understanding how to judge things properly, of what is good and what is not good, which a lot of people don't understand how to clarify that. You have to analyze it, like you said, with logic. So you have to say, what is the golden rule? So first you have to understand what would make something morality, just in general. Well, as an axiologist, I know behavior. See, because you don't do morality to yourself. In other words, you don't do, I mean, they say you can't, but that's because they have a pseudo-morality. There's no morality that you do, to you. Damien doesn't do immoral things to himself. Damien can maybe do immoral behaviors to others. So it's really about how you treat others. So the golden rule has a problem in that it starts with what I like and says what I like, then do unto others. So it focuses on the ego of the self to make good behaviors. That's not morality. Morality is how other people. It doesn't matter what I like. Maybe I like to get beaten. Maybe I like to be sexless, or be straight, or to be sexual or whatever. And maybe I want the whole world to be like that. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What I think should not make my morality. How I treat others is how they deserve to be treated. It should be about other people. So to me, with the golden rules error is starting with the self. Do unto others as I would have them do to me. Yeah, well, that's where you can have people commit crimes, because they say, well, if I was gay, I would kill myself. And so thus I can kill you, because I would expect the same. If I didn't believe in Allah, I would kill myself. Well, you don't believe in Allah, I will kill you. It allows, but if I say, whether you're gay, you're straight, you believe, you don't believe, you're atheist, you're Christian, you're Muslim, that you have rights and it has nothing to do with me, and I don't give you your rights, you own them, thus I cannot violate them, that changes everything. That's morality.
Yeah. I agree. Morality is due in spite of what you're told.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why when they, like you said, when they say threats, to make morality, you're morally good because I'm worried about a God going to hurt me. Yeah. That's not morality. That's fear.
And I can remember saying that to my mom. And it's like, if the only reason you're good, you're afraid of going to hell, then you're a hypocrite.
Yep. And you're not a good person. If the only reason you're good is because of hell, then that you're not good. Because guess what?
Yeah.
You're good and I'm good, and I don't have the threat of hell.
Yeah. I'm good because I just want to be.
Right.
I want to be good to people. I love everyone, and I just want everybody to be happy. And I'm not afraid of, when I die, that's it.
Yeah.
And that's another thing, too, that religion is like, we're not living for this world, we're living for the next world. That is such a horrible thing to teach a child, because that's basically telling them, you can't have any fun.
Right.
It's all about the next life.
Right.
Really? That's such a horrible thing to teach a child. It's like defeatist and it makes you feel hopeless.
Plus, what's heaven really? I mean, what are they really offering you? I mean, they're not offering you to be married there. You're not having sex there. You're not having some kind of a relationship of a life fulfillment. You get to forever praise the deity.
24/7, 65.
Right, praise the gift of suffering now. You can later have nothing and just pray for the deity.
Yeah.
That's not winning the prize. That's getting a zonk.
Yeah.
You won nothing. Say like they have those game shows. Behind door number 2. Oh, I'm sorry. There's nothing there. Welcome to heaven.
You get the donkey. Sorry.
Right. Welcome to heaven.
Yeah.
Sorry, you don't get nothing.
Yeah. Nope. I'm gonna enjoy myself now. This is all I have, and it is pretty good.
Yeah, and life is worthwhile to enjoy.
Yeah.
And if you're constantly living in fear and guilt by religion, you're not even enjoying it, even if you could.
Yeah.
It's just, to me, it's just life destroying.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. It ruins what we have. The only thing we have is this gift of life.
Yes. And
to have that constant, guilt trip and the fear of, everything we have. And I don't want to live that way. And I don't want to raise my children that way, And it's just, I just wish we didn't have religion. The world would be such a better place. Wars are fought over religion. Families over religion. Countries are divided over religion. It's horrible. It's a tragedy.
Right. It is. And I don't understand how how people, especially like in general, that's really hard for me, especially talking about you were saying before about the need for like facts and stuff. Is that I don't understand that we have enough evidence to know that this stuff is false. It's not like a big question.
Yeah.
And so it's not even that it's bad, which it is. It's not morality, which it's not. It's not even true.
Yeah. Yeah.
We know it's not true.
Yeah.
I mean, even it's understanding, like, my book is going to be coming out, The Tree of Lies and Its Hidden Roots, Exposing the Evolution of Religion and Removing the Rationale of Faith. And I start religion at 100,000 years ago, archaeologically, and I show its progression. And like, chapter 2 has over 450 references.
Wow.
It's like it's 103 or 5, 6 pages, something like that, I don't remember, but the whole book's going to be 600 pages, but or something close to that. But, yeah, I've been working on it for 3 years. But it's so funny that there's so much information to disprove every religion. Archaeologically. Even if you threw all science out, totally gone, not use any science, just use the actual archaeological facts they dig up that shows manuscripts and they show stuff and how they textually understand, and you don't need you don't need evolution. It's good, obviously, but I'm just saying, even if that's totally out of the picture, just the facts disprove the stuff. So that's one of the reasons why I wrote, because I feel like a lot of atheists keep saying, well, science does this, science, evolution. Okay, we've already said that. That hasn't changed their mind.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, the Catholic Church says they believe in evolution. So that keeps talking about that really isn't going to ever, push the argument to reason. We need to be attacking something new.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good idea. I'm looking forward to reading your book.
Yeah, it's gonna change a lot of people, because also I'm a very strong atheist, and that's what I promote in the book, is that there's really no reason to doubt. There's no reason to doubt from science. There's no reason to doubt from logic, like you realize as a child. There's no reason to doubt. I talk about morality too. No reason to doubt from morality. There's no reason to believe in things like revelations and stuff that people get in their head. So that how they supposedly got these facts for religion is questionable. Then I show that the people that supposedly wrote the books didn't write them. We know this now. Archaeologically, we know this stuff is false. It's like there's the weight against them. What's funny too is there was a point where women were in religion a lot more as prominent factors that people don't realize.
Yeah.
You didn't know that?
No, I had no idea.
Oh, there was a time when a goddess or a woman, female shaman. In fact, all shamans, the oldest shamans ever found, were only female, no men.
Really?
Yeah, and then I would say probably, I know in Mesopotamia about 6,000 years ago, very common female shamans or female priestesses, very very common, and not guys. And usually the guys were eunuchs. We're homosexual, we're cross-dressers, we're genderqueer, we're intersex, something other than standard male. It's much later that it's about 5,000 when you start having the real domination of women out of religion, but it's really about 2,000 years ago, somewhere around there, the whole world where it starts to be nothing, and then it's whittled away. Because even in Islam, for a while, women were a lot more prominent, and then it's whittled away. So it's just, which just shows the falsehood right there. It's men wanting power, and they fucking don't want women to be involved. I mean, but that's not historical.
Yeah.
So, I also talk about that a lot in the book, because I show that there's no real reason to believe that God should have been a man. In fact, even like the oldest, somewhat sacred figures created, everything past about 22,000 years ago to about 250,000 years ago, every single figure is female. Every single figure.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, it starts to be like, well, if there was a God, and humans evolved about 250,000 years ago or 200,000 years ago, so it's possible this female figure was actually created even before humans. But even if, because there's even one that might be 500,000 years old, a female figure, but it looks anthropomorphic, which means you can't really tell. It's sort of androgynous too. We can't really tell if it's totally human. You can't really tell if it's totally male or female. But the likelihood is it's probably female. But anyways, the whole point is that if God was a male, and even if, like, you know, the Catholic Church believes that somehow everything, you know, the old you know, Earth and people being 200,000 years old or whatever. Well, if that's true, your God can't be true, because then he allowed goddesses or female worship of some kind to be allowed without him for, let's see, 245,000 years, give or take. Does that sound like like the God is the real? I mean, really? He let women be in power for 250,000 years? What was he doing? Not important? Had better shit to do? I mean, it's like stupid. It's like, But I would say that there's some people that I'm an anarcho-feminist, so I support feminism. But some people in the feminist movement, I didn't know, you may not know this, but they take some of that information and they make goddesses be, you know, like a real big thing. They also take some of that stuff and they add things that are not true. This is what they understand. So there was very few misandrous societies. In other words, completely women-run societies. There were such things.
Okay.
So it wasn't, the whole world's not always been patriarchy. I mean, that's more of a current invention. Probably about 3,000 years ago, sometime around there. But so it's not, the whole world was not always patriarchy as it feels now. But but usually what it was some form of mild hierarchical equalitarianism is the most common. So it's still somewhat of a structure, not really pro-man, not really pro-woman, usually somewhat closer to equal. Sometimes equal is not what exactly you'd consider equals. May have been, you know, men a little bit more powerful, but certainly nothing anti-female like later happens.
Yeah.
Which also to me would then debunk the Bible, because supposedly, you know, God has started out at the beginning creating a man, Adam, and then created women to help him, you know, right? I mean, so we should find no evidence of anything else.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hit you all these facts. I have tons more. I won't keep going. I know a lot of that stuff. It's more interesting probably to read, where you can read at your own pace. But
it's like, you know, you make me excited to read the book, because, you know, I haven't done any research on the, you know, any anthropological research or, you know, about the history of religion or anything like that. It's just been my own personal journey, you know, where it's been, you know, what's happened to me and my opinions,
right,
you know, about things that have happened in my life. But, you know, now that I've gotten, you know, to know other people that are atheists, I'm more interested in, like you say, the history of religion. Why did this get started? Why do we do what we do? Why, as a society, why do we believe this way? You know, how did this progress from, you know, a primitive society to this, you know, ridiculous religious-based society that we have now?
I can tell you real quick.
Know, it's so pervasive in our society. Why?
I think that the sad answer to me would be really two things: fear and control. Fear and control. Fear and control to me, I mean, I can go long answers and I can give you all kinds of facts and data and all that stuff, but truly it comes out to fear and control. Those two things. And I think that, also I think that the opinion of sexism or men is a massively driving force for religion. That's why I said it's not unique that you find most of the world's religions are anti-female. I mean, even Buddhists said that, you know, that a woman can reach enlightenment only after being reborn as a man. I mean, certainly not what I would consider equal.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just... And even like, I don't know if you know about the yin and the yang. People a lot of times don't understand. That's actually extremely sexist. It's extremely offensive if you really understand what it is. Because, well, I'll tell you what it is. So the white is the male. The dark is the female. Because women are downward seeking. Men are upward seeking. Women like the dark and shady path. Men like the light. I mean, just hearing that, how can you not go, wow, you just go throw that sexism out there, don't you? You're not even trying to hide that shit.
Yeah. That's so awful if you think about it, you know? It's like, wow. Well, you know, really, if you think about it in the Judeo-Christian tradition, it's the same way.
It's the same way.
It's like Eve was the, you know, the temptress who brought Adam down. That's how they've used that whole, you know, Eve as the, you know, temptress to suppress women.
Totally, yes.
You know? It's all the woman's fault. You know, it's the women's fault that we were cast out of the Garden of Eden because Eve ate that apple.
Exactly. And just like...
so, all about a fairy tale. And keeping us down and oppressing us because they believe in some fairy tale from the Bible. And you know what really bothers me more than anything is the women that buy into that.
It's sad, but I see them as victims.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I feel for them. At the same time, it's irritating. I feel for them because I know victims act like victims, and that's very sad.
Yeah.
So I don't get very angry. I just feel more sad. Like, wow, that's really tragic that someone would feel like that, and how evil religion is to make someone feel like that.
Yeah.
So, my thing is, you talk about like Eve. So Adam, you're always told in the Bible that, you know, Adam was first, and then Eve, you know, comes from Adam's rib and all this nonsense. Well, that was actually one of the first things that made me doubt religion. Going to college, they told me in psychology, as what my degree is, and they told me in biology sexuality class, they told me, well, everyone starts out as female. Everyone.
Yeah.
That's the default gender for human.
Yeah.
I remember thinking, what? How can that be? And they're like, well, it's worse than that, actually, because it takes 3 processes to turn a female into a male. There's anti-feminizing androgens, and there's masculine androgens, and then there's testosterone. And all that needs to happen, otherwise you end up with someone intersexed. Which, of course, is what happened to me. You didn't get all those things for some reason, and then you end up not being totally a man, not being totally a woman. So, but to understand that to me, if creationism was true, why do you have to turn off female to make male if Adam was first and creationism is true? What?
Right. Wouldn't the default be male?
Exactly. Right? Exactly.
Yeah.
And just like the other thing too, people don't understand chromosomally. Okay, because I read the whole book. It's good. It's an awesome book. It's called The Curse of Adam. He's the dean of DNA for the genetics and stuff for Oxford University in England. In the book, he basically explains how weak the man is. It's actually genetically, like the size is like 1/3 or something of the size of the female X.
Yeah.
So it's this little weak little. Just looking at it, he goes, it doesn't make you very impressed with what a man is. It's like we're talking about men being power, but actually genetically, it looks like this weak little, and then it's corrupted usually. The female looks like relatively straight, and the men's sometimes is a little bit crooked, and sometimes there's a little less of the Y. It's like he said, where the females is not. So it just shows that if, like you said too, if the Bible was true, why would God make what makes a man look so weak and like an add-on, like some little broken, it doesn't. It's looking at it, it doesn't tell you a lot. So I mean, to me, like you said, I learned a lot of stuff too. When you become an atheist, you don't. It's like religion, you get taught. Become an atheist, you got to figure it all out on your own.
Yeah, yeah. You have to use your brain. Imagine that.
Yeah.
That's the other thing about religion. It's like you get to turn your brain off. It's like, just accept it on faith. Really? Then why do I have a brain?
Exactly.
Just, nothing makes sense, And I can remember telling my mother, it doesn't make sense. And she'd say, don't worry about it. You don't need logic. You don't need reason. You just need to have faith, and all will be made known to you in heaven. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not buying that. I want to know now. I want to be able to figure it out. If there's no logical explanation and there's no evidence, can't make me believe it. Not going to believe it.
And you shouldn't believe it. That's like to me, it's funny because some people that are atheists don't like philosophers, but really philosophy is great because it does logic and it does critical thinking. And it's so funny. That most people, obviously in the general public, start with religion. I mean, it's pretty common in America. But why is it that in America that 79% of all philosophers are atheists? Well, because the same would happen to you. When you're able to think and you require yourself to have justified beliefs, believing in faith, it just does not work.
No, it doesn't. You cannot accept things on faith.
No.
Because it doesn't make sense. Why would you believe something? You take religion out of the equation,
Right.
Put in something else. You wouldn't just accept it on faith for anything else. So why do you accept anything on faith? It's like you wouldn't write up a contract with somebody and say, "Oh, I have faith that you'll pay me." No, you have a contract. You sign on the bottom line.
Exactly.
It's legally binding. It should be that way with everything. You shouldn't take your brain out and put it on a shelf. It's there for a reason. Critical thinking, logic. It's frustrating to me.
So, you're married. Do you have? Is your partner also an atheist?
Yes, she is. She was raised her family is Jewish, but they're atheists too. They don't practice except in a kind of a cultural way. Like they do their.
So they're secular Jewish. Is that what you mean?
Yes, secular Jews. Yeah.
Yeah.
They do some of their cultural celebrations, but only to be connected as to their tribe. It's really not a religious thing. It kind of like non-religious people who celebrate Christmas just because it's fun to give gifts. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't. And for me personally, I don't celebrate any holidays that are religious. That includes, I don't, like you said, I don't mind what other people do. For me, I don't celebrate anything religious, period. That includes, like, I know a lot of atheists celebrate, like, winter solstice. I'm sorry, that's pagan, and I don't do that either. For me.
Yeah. Because it's still some kind of religious practice.
For me, right. So they're like, oh, well, you're just so, hard-headed. No, I just choose not to be involved in religion, period. At all, in any way. I don't tell anyone else what to do. But it's so funny when I
Yeah.
say I don't do that, then people are like, well, how
I
could
mean,
you?
that's how, yeah, I feel that way too. If it were just me, I wouldn't engage in any kind of practice, anything like that.
Right.
But, it's important to her to have, a couple times a year to do, what is it she does? Well, we don't really do that anymore. When our child was little, we did lighting the candles for Hanukkah. And then, what's the other one? Passover. We would do Passover. And that, I'm okay. I have to support her. I love her, and I support her. And like I said, I believe in live and let live. But if it were up to me, we wouldn't do. I wouldn't engage in anything like that. And probably after our child is out of the house, we won't either. But it was very important to my partner, it is very important to my partner to give our child a sense of his place in his culture as a person of Jewish heritage.
Right.
Like I say, I'm live and let live about that because she's not religious at all.
Yeah. Well, I'm not condemning what she does. I also would say I think that you could make someone understand their Jewish heritage without you doing Jewish religious practices. But that's just me.
Yeah, I agree too. I agree.
So I'm not against people, respecting where their heritage comes from. That wouldn't be a bother to me at all as an atheist. But
yeah.
I don't think we need to do religion. But I know some people that the thought of religion and culture is a very blurred line.
Yeah, yeah, and particularly for Jews.
Yeah, for Jews or Native Americans, it's often sometimes
right.
very hard to separate that.
Yeah.
But so I wanted to ask. So you said that you stopped doing that for your child. Is that because they got a certain age, they asked not to, or you just decided not to?
No, I'm saying that like for Hanukkah, we don't really necessarily do that anymore. Yeah, because he's almost 17 now, so.
Oh, okay.
It's.
Well, I don't know how old you are. How old you look young, so I mean I don't know. You could be 30 and have a small child.
He'll be 17 next month. So he's kind of grown out of it.
Oh, okay. So is he an atheist too, or?
Yeah, we all are. He's been to church one time for my father's funeral. That was it.
So does your family treat you guys different, or?
My siblings are. My brother is a very strong atheist. My sisters, if you two of them, I've got three sisters. Two of them would identify themselves as Roman Catholics, and I don't believe they engage in any kind of religious practice.
So you mean also kind of secular, right? Is that what you're talking about? I know some people say once again, even like Catholicism, even though it's not Jewish. I know a lot of people say, "Well, I'm Catholic," because it's almost like culturally Catholic or something.
Yeah, kind of. My third sister, she's really into the higher power thing because she got into AA, because she was married to an alcoholic, and she goes to AA meetings like every day, and she talks about her higher power all the time. And live and let live, but it's a little hard to take.
Yeah, I know. I did the higher power thing. I've been sober now for 26 years, and I was in AA for 18 years until I became an atheist and realized, wow, this shit's a religion.
Yeah. It's just another religion, right?
It's another religion. It just has a different slant on the God thing, but I mean, you got to do chants, you got to do little rituals, you got to do. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, you have to believe it's a requirement. You have to. And I remember someone the other day was trying to tell me, "Oh no, it's choose what you want." And I go, "Yeah, I was in 18 years. You can't pull that bullshit on me." There's a thing in the big book called the third step prayer. I think it's on page 59.
Yeah. You can call it what you want. It's still religion.
The prayer is, God, I offer myself to thee to build with me and do with me as thou wilt. Relieve me of the bondage of self, so I may better do a witness to your strength, your power, to your way of life. May I do your will always. Does that sound like not religion?
Sounds like religion to me. You know, they say if it walks like a duck, it quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck, right?
Yeah, that doesn't even sound like higher power. To me, it's just another lie. It's just like the lie of hell. You're going to go to hell. I think that, to me, AA's higher power is just a nicer way to say we're going to trick you into God, and we found a good way. It's called this word called higher power. We're going to get you to believe in God anyways, but you won't realize it's happening. You know what it reminds me of? When I first became a crack addict, I knew crack was bad in the 80s.
Yeah.
Around LA and stuff, where I'm from Orange County, Southern California, south of you. And they told me, though, this isn't crack, this is freebase. I go, oh, well, hell, give me some of that, you know? What the fuck? When you find out later, actually, crack is freebase. Same shit, yeah. Different name.
Same stuff.
Same shit, you know? It's like, the only difference between pure crack and freebase, only one major difference. Crack can be made at the source and never turn into powder cocaine, just straight to crack, where freebase is taking powder cocaine and turning into crack. So, what's the difference? Same. Yeah, so to me, that's the same thing. You end up with the same thing. You end up with crack. You just different process, same shit. So to me, that's all I realized about AA. Same process, just different shit.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a different name.
So I mean, the whole thing is there's also a 7-step prayer and 11-step prayer, and so the person's like, yeah, and they're like, oh well, they're inclusive, and no, they're not. Tell me that there is an atheist AA meeting. Well, there isn't yet. Yeah. How long have they been around? 40 years? There's none? They're everywhere in the entire world, and yet there's no atheist AA? Now tell me again you cannot believe and be an AA. You can't. It is a requirement. It's like saying you're Catholic and or whatever, a Muslim, and you don't believe in Allah. Yeah. Right. You have to believe in a God to be in AA. You cannot say, I do not believe and truly be in AA. Not have other people with you, because that's the whole part. The
very first step is like you've got to let go and get into your higher power, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So, duh.
Yep. You admitted we were powerless over alcohol and life becoming manageable. The second step that we came to believe, right? The belief. Came to believe in a power greater than ourselves. So the second step. And the third step, Fred, is that higher power can, remove the bondage of alcohol or whatever. So, I mean, I agree. The whole damn thing is just a religion. It's just steps to how to make you believe in God, really. So yeah, I've not been in it, and guess what else funny too? I've not been in it, and I've stayed sober. So, because I have this thing called care for myself.
Yeah, and there have been studies that show that AA isn't really very effective anyway. What's the statistic? Like less than 10% of people.
I think it's 5 to 6%. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's not proof of anything anyway. So if it is a God thing, well then God doesn't work. We've proved it.
Yep.
Again. Again, as always, that imaginary friends only produce imaginary help.
That's great. Oh, that reminds me. I did have an argument, I remember recently, with a friend who was religious, and his daughter was sick. And he asked me to pray for his daughter. And I'm like, dude, I'm an atheist. I'm not going to pray. I will think good thoughts.
Yeah.
I'll think positively. And he's like, are your positive thoughts going to cure my daughter? I'm like, prayer's not going to cure your daughter. The doctor's going to cure your daughter. Yep. You need to thank medical science if your daughter is cured, not God.
Exactly.
And I almost lost a friend over that. I mean, he eventually acknowledged that, I had the right to believe the way I believe, or lack of belief, and I respect his beliefs. But, that was probably the diciest moment that I can really recall with a believer versus my non. So, yeah. That was a stressful situation, and I'd forgotten about that. Maybe because it was stressful, I put it out of my mind. So,
yeah, I find that, like you said, though, I don't think that we're the ones that have a problem with them believing. They have a problem with us explaining why it's not valid.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know why it matters to people that, because really, I'm sure that both of my neighbors on either side of me, I know for sure that my one neighbor is a Catholic. They go to church every Sunday. My other neighbor goes to some kind of church. It doesn't harm me that they're believers.
Yeah.
So what harm am I to anybody? Belief is zero harm. So why are they threatened by that? Doesn't change anything, right?
Yeah, but I think that, like you were talking about, the issue is deeper. I talk about it in the book a little bit. I think the issue is deeper. They own it like you're talking about them. So you're not saying, I don't believe in a God, as in something separated from both of us. No, that's like you and me going, I don't believe the moon is there. There's nothing relative to you and me. Whether the moon is there or not there, it really isn't going to affect us, I mean, it does affect tides and all kinds of things. We'll just forget about all that science. But just say that if the moon wasn't there, and I said I don't believe in it, that wouldn't hurt you if I said I didn't believe in the moon. You'd be like, well, that's wrong because science can show there's a moon there. We landed on the moon. I mean, we can see it every night. But if I denied the moon, that wouldn't inherently hurt you. And if you said, well, I believe in the moon, and I have science, I wouldn't be threatened by it either because your belief in there is a moon wouldn't hurt my non-belief. So I think the issue is the fact that for them, like you said about the culture, they have wrongly made the religion, the belief there is, no moon, who they are. I am a no moon person. So I'm not. I don't believe in no moon. You're saying that I'm wrong for being a no moon person. And so like when you say, Damien, but I believe in the moon, and all I'm hearing is you don't believe, you're saying something against me personally. Because you can tell the way they act. They get really angry. You're an atheist? What? How could you not believe in God? It's like, I get really like, why are you so fucking pissed off what I believe? What if I, like unicorns, shoot stardust? And like, what does it even matter? Well, same reason, why would they care if someone's gay? What does that have to do with them? With gay marriage, what does that have to do with you? That has to do with your life, what? Like, people all the time give me crap for being poly, for being intersex, for saying I'm genderqueer. People give me crap for all kinds of shit. I mean, and I always think, who gives a fuck what I am or what I do? Does that have to do with anything with you? Why? I mean, besides wanting to support me because you care or being involved in my life, but if you didn't, what does it even matter? It's like me saying, well, I like my beard to be red. What does that do with you? Nothing, unless you like my beard being red. I mean, it has no effect on you at all. But there's this wrong thing that happens, like you said, culturally, they've now made that we have to believe this. And that they take it, so when you say, well, like if I said, I want religion to end, then they say to me, I want you to end. You know what I'm saying? They turn, because that's how they heard it.
Yeah.
They heard that I want them to die. So if I say I want religion to die, they say, Damien, I want you to die.
Yeah.
So they've wrongly turned something I was talking about, an idea, but they heard, you want to hurt me.
Yeah. Yeah. And it doesn't follow logically.
No, it doesn't.
We're talking about the idea of religion.
Exactly.
Let's do away with religion. Not with humans. Not with the humans that believe in the religion. let's do away with their religion. We don't need it.
It's exactly. It's, but they hear you. You want to do away with me personally.
Yeah.
It's I know it's always going to be a problem, is we have to get them to divorce themselves from this thinking before we can get them, because in other words, that's why I think also why we can't get them to believe facts or logic or reason, because you're attacking them as a person, they think, when we're really just challenging the idea.
Yeah. Yeah, and they can't separate themselves from that idea.
No.
You know, it's become like part of their fiber.
Yes. Even like I said, even so much that even when they no longer believe, they still got to practice it, because this is who we are, not what we believe, but who we are.
It's who we are.
It's who we are. And so, even like my mom told me, because she's looked at some of my stuff, she told me, well, you make really good arguments, and I now, believe probably the Bible's not totally true, but I still want to believe. I still that just doesn't work for me. I don't want to believe something that's not true.
No. Yeah, I don't get that either. It's like, why would you want to believe that hateful scream? There's very little in there that's good, and so much that's negative and violent and horrible.
Yeah.
Child disobeys, you should stone them to death? Really?
Yeah.
You want to believe that? Why?
Well, just like you said about children, there's if you ever want to say, spare the rod, spoil the child. But that's actually a sexual poem about adults, a man and a woman, actually, not even a child. He's calling a woman a child. It's an 18th century poem.
Yeah.
Which is so weird that they use that, because it's actually a sexual poem written in the 18th century about a man and a woman, and he's saying, spare the rod, spoil the child, something like, I can't remember, if you let the girl go, she's wild, or something. I don't remember the poem, but it's nothing to do with actually real children or punishment. It's about a sex play and bondage and a man hitting a woman. And yet somehow it's now, people say that, because it's funny, if you look for that verse, it is not in the Bible. There is no verse in the Bible that says, spare the rod, spoil the child. None. Nothing. There's ones close to that, but
everyone accepts it as part of the Bible.
I know, right?
Yeah.
They'll say it. They'll say, the Bible says. No, it doesn't. You find that. You tell me where that is.
Yeah, where in the Bible exactly is that?
Yeah, it doesn't say it. So there is one that says that if you don't raise your child, in the fear of God, but anyways, there's something that talks about the rod. But understand too that people don't understand. See, I don't understand a lot of the facts of the Bible, which helps to me understand how false that shit is or how crazy it is. So when you think rod, you think stick, but you got to understand, to them, rod was a weapon.
Yeah.
It's a club. It's actually, if you go back to the Hebrew translation of the Bible that talks about how you should use a rod on a child, it actually says club. It's not. Because it's actually anywhere from a 3-foot to a 6-foot pole with this, looks like about the size of a hard ball or a little bit bigger at the end. So it's like a knobbed thing that you would hit. What it was for, shepherds would use it. Mainly shepherds would use it, that's why it's considered to be guidance. Shepherds would use it to knock away, something that tries to go after their sheep.
Okay.
Hit him in the head or hit.
A pretty lethal weapon.
Yeah. It could kill, but generally it's not. That's not its goal. It's more to scare them away or hit them. So, but it was the object was though, because then people understand. Like it talks about. There's a verse where I think it's King David where he says, "Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I'll fear no evil. My rod and my staff, they are with me." Well, the rod had to do with had a loop at the end, and the staff. The staff had a loop at the end, and you would grab the sheep. Then the rod was the weapon. So one was to subdue the animal, the sheep. The other one was to harm the thing. So and also there's a verse too that talks about beating your slave with the rod. Well, it says if they die in the same day, that's a crime. If they die several days later, that's okay. But that just shows that you could kill someone, like you were saying, with the club, with the rod. So to beat a child with a club.
Yeah, as long as they don't die the same day, you're all right.
So if they really understood what they're even talking about in general, they would. But why they didn't care back then? Like you said, they stoned children to death. So hitting them with a club, well, who cares? No big deal.
Yeah, just another day.
Just like they talk about. I posted something recently that said homosexuals should be killed. Okay, you're talking about Leviticus, I would assume. And Leviticus also says that you should die for eating shrimp, any shellfish, and also for eating a crow, and also for eating.
For working on the
for working on the Sabbath, you can get killed. There's a death penalty. I mean,
or wearing mixed fabrics.
Exactly, or having sex with a woman who is on the period, death. I mean, it's just the whole. It's like ridiculous, and it's so funny how that they single out this one thing, to infinitum, but they just keep going and going on it, and they feel so. That's like I said. When I was a believer, I thought I had the right to hate people that were gay, because I mean that God did.
Yeah,
but now
given permission.
Yeah, my whole moral system was sick and disgusting. I mean. It's so funny to me now. It's like I'm like so different. I don't even. I would have hated myself. Who's this fucking freak? I mean, I was conservative. I was Republican. It's just, it's amazing to me that how different I am. Being an atheist has really, really changed who I am. Made me a better human. So, so they go, oh, don't you feel bad about being atheist? It's the best thing that ever happened to me. I don't know about anybody else, but shit, right? It's been awesome for me. Not only awesome, my life has been guilt free, but the fact that my humanism has flourished under atheism.
Yeah.
So to me, it's weird because they think like somehow if you don't understand God or you don't have fear, like you were talking about, or religion to tell you things aren't wrong. Of course, they also tell you that wrong things are right, but but when you really just start using this weird thing called compassion and care, all of a sudden you're able to care about a lot of things that before you couldn't, and it's really, really changed me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing what, when you let go of religion, you let go of guilt over things that you shouldn't feel guilty about, like expressing your sex, and you feel lighter and happier just in your own skin, And so when you're happier with yourself, you're able to love other people, and to me, it's just very freeing on so many levels. And, I would wish that for everyone.
Yeah. So you seem to be somewhat out on Facebook about being an atheist. Were you always that way on Facebook, or did now some people really picked up?
I just think it wasn't an issue for me, except for the past couple of years, because I guess it just wasn't really something that I thought about until, my eldest son became a fundamentalist Christian. And, then it still wasn't an issue for me until he and his wife had children. And, they're raising them in this really strict fundamentalist, homeschool.
Wow.
They don't want them around anybody who doesn't go to their church. And I just got really angry about that. And I felt like I needed to be vocal about how I felt about just the negativity of religion, and to not just keep it to myself, to put it out there.
Yeah.
Just maybe to start some kind of healthy debate,
Right. So, that must really hurt. Does he hate your marriage, and does he hate you?
No, they're kind people. I don't know what they say about us behind our back, if anything. But, I know that as conservative as their church is, there homophobia there. I know there has to be. But we don't talk about it. We don't talk about religion because we don't talk about religion or politics because they're also very, politically conservative. And so honestly,
and you're very liberal.
Honest answer. What's that?
And you're very liberal.
Yes, extremely liberal. So we just don't talk about it because it's impossible to have a rational discussion around that with them, and I don't want to alienate them because I want to see my grandchildren.
Right.
I don't want there to be anger and so I want to be able to see my children and my grandchildren, so we just don't talk about it. But it's pretty upsetting to me to think that my grandchildren are being raised in kind of the way that I was, and I know how damaging it was to my psyche to be raised in such a, ridiculously religious home. And I just see that that's going to happen to them too, and I'm sad for them, And it's even worse. At least my parents let me out, I could have, any type of friends I wanted. They didn't keep me home. I went to public school. I had friends. My poor granddaughters, they never get out of the house. They're only allowed to have friends that go to their church.
Wow.
So it's a very small world that they live in, And I'm sad for them.
And do you think that they would oppress them if they were transgender or genderqueer or gay or lesbian?
I would hope not. I don't really know. I don't think they would oppress them. I think they would try to change them. Which is a form of oppression.
Right, yeah. No, that's why I feel personally, like even my situation, my mom not telling me that I was intersex, and that I kept having all these, like, I don't fit in, and I don't understand, why don't I like sports, and why don't I like, working at cars, and why don't I like all this guy stuff, and yet I look kind of guy, and but I don't really feel feminine, and I'm confused. Why do I feel like I like pink, and I like certain kind of things, and I used to wear velvet shorts and just, if I wear, patent leather shoes and, boots, like, and then one time I wore, like, everyone was buying Doc Martens. I don't know if you know what they are. Do you know what they are? Well, everyone was buying Doc Martens. I bought pointed Doc Martens that were suede leather. They were like, no one, they don't go, where did you even buy those? They even make those? They're pointed,
Yeah.
And they all thought I was trying to be, like my mom was, oh, you're dramatic, I was just being me. I just found out later that, well, of course I'm being me. I'm being non-totally male.
Yeah.
I'm not fitting the gender role, but if I would have been, like you said, to me it's oppression. You should have, not only did you surgically do stuff to make sure I was only male, you didn't even tell me. And then when I was exhibiting frustration for not fitting my gender role, you never told me. I see that as oppression too. How much better would I felt my whole life? Not only that, I would hide some of it because I felt like I was a freak. I'm just this. It seemed like I don't fit in with nobody. I don't fit in with men. I don't really fit in totally with women. I'm not gay. I don't feel totally straight. I don't know what I feel. I feel bizarre, So I felt like it was traumatizing, and I felt shame and guilt, and I didn't understand. And to find out, oh yeah, one in every 1,000 men have some gender difference. That's as many as people with red hair. And yet I felt alone and didn't know that actually this is normal. It's very it's very common for someone who is intersex like me to have low testosterone and to be to have actually where I feel like, to me, either genderqueer, but when I mean is I feel like I have two genders. I usually don't say bi gender because then people think I mean bisexual. No, I mean I feel like I have a barbaric male and some kind of a feminist lesbian in my head at the same time.
No, I totally get what you mean. You know, when I was a kid, I thought that, you know, well, I didn't believe in God, but I thought whoever, you know, made me kind of made a mistake.
Right.
Because but when I was younger, I felt like I should have been male.
Right.
You know, I identified as a male. In fact, I tried to get my mother to let me identify as a male. I wanted to change my name to a male name.
Right.
And was not okay with that.
Really?
She let me dress. She let me cross-dress, putting girls' clothes on me before I was, you know, a teenager. But I wanted to. She was, oh, no, that's not going to happen.
To me, that's oppression.
So, you know, I get that. I get how you feel. I feel more, like, now that I'm an adult, I feel like my gender, the genitals I have, most of with how I feel. But there are still definitely days or, like, periods of time where I feel masculine, and I want to dress masculine. You know, and it's just the way it is, and I'm cool with that.
Right. So one of the harder things too, and why I wish that it would have been taught to me, is that sometimes I do things that disgust myself, but that's because I have like one part of my brain hating almost the other part of me, but gender wise, you know what I'm saying? Like.
Yeah.
Like I said, I have the barbaric man and then this feminist woman. They don't really think the same. One doesn't give a fuck, and the other one is like caring about rights and stuff. So it's like, you know.
I get it.
You know what I'm saying? It's like hard. You know, it's all in my head, and it's like thinking. And then I like certain things, and then I feel, you know, that I should. Why do I like this? You know, and so it's very very hard for me. So I mean, I can understand how people feel, and I feel like I said, the fact that it could have been told to me, I think is oppression. The fact that someone even made fun of me, because people always made fun of me. My mom, I would say, somewhat let me do things, but it was always done with shaming. It was never done like, you know, you be you. You know, it was more like, you know, God, you want that? What the hell's wrong with you? You know.
Yeah.
So I think that our society, but I think going back to religion says it's man and woman, and you should all be heterosexual, or you should understand it all the same way.
Yeah.
And I think that's very damaging. Seriously.
Oh.
Besides the God thing, I think that the fact that it tells us, because see, let's say that somebody, you know, says, well, there's more than one gender. Well, that automatically goes into the Bible. And there's more than one sexuality that's healthy. Well, that doesn't follow the Bible. So I mean, it's like religion. That's why I said, and same with, even in not to keep going after Buddhism, but Buddhism, you know, you can't be a monk and be gay.
Yeah.
You really can't be a monk and be female.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is what is the having it's just like ridiculous. That's why I always say things, because I feel like the more I talk about my life, like you were talking about, you know, that it causes a debate. I say a lot of things. It's not that I, you know, like to constantly argue with people, or it's that this shit needs to change, and it won't change if we stay quiet.
Right. If we don't change, what's going to happen? You know?
Nothing's happened. What's funny to me is that I assumed that people that were LGBT, right, that they knew stuff about all the different genders or sexualities. A lot of times they don't. They're as ignorant as the rest of the population. Yeah. Same with about knowing about atheism. I thought that for sure they would know about, and because I volunteered and I had a booth at in Southern California in Santa Ana at the LGBT Pride, and promoted atheism. And there was some people coming up to me that were gay saying, well, don't atheists believe in Satan? I'm like, what? Really? You're kidding me, right? I thought you guys would be on the ball a little more than this. You gotta be kidding me. Really? I mean, I get a fanatical, like you said, fundamentalist Christian, saying that. But someone is not? Really? But so I think that, it's good to tell everybody because they don't know. And I've learned stuff, by talking about it, other people can then talk to me and say, well, this is that. And I've actually, felt to be a lot more, feel not alone. Although I will say that I'm surprised that the level of bigotry in every community is still there. It's actually disgusting. The people that are gay a lot of times don't like bisexual people. People that are trans sometimes don't like bi-gender or don't like genderqueer or that you're bi or genderqueer and that you have to be gay. I tell them that I'm attracted to females and not to men. All of a sudden that's the most terrible thing in the world. I'm like, is it terrible to be lesbian then, or is it terrible to be gay? I don't. Why is it? How come is it? I'm like, I'm just explaining how I really feel, and it's funny how people have, but I've had a lot of people, welcome me too. I'm just making a point that it's just amazing to me how much people are prone to hate what they don't understand, or having people actually.
I think that's it. People just automatically suspect what they don't understand, or suspect all the way. There's a whole spectrum from being a little skeptical to hating when you don't understand it. And why? Why not just learn about it before you make an opinion, right?
Right. Well, it's like if you looked at my profile under my gender. You don't have to. I'm just asking if you did.
No, I haven't.
Oh, but anyways, it's what it says is it says genderqueer intersex male. That's what it says. And some people are like, well, that's just too much stuff to that just sounds like a Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that my gender is not easy for you to grasp. I didn't know I needed to make sure that who I am is easily classified for your lack of knowledge.
That's fine. That's good. But I like that.
It amazes me because I would never think of telling someone who you say you are is wrong. Like you said, I would be more like, wow, that, explain it to me, and I would want to understand. I mean, I don't, it's how rare that people actually even ask me, or I say something about who I am or why I am, and I'm blown away how many people do not ask me. And I tell people, I'll send you pictures, I'll talk to you, I'll talk to anybody. I want to get this out because I want people to know. And I've had, very few people ask me or want to know. They just go, okay. Or they said they actually negative and tell me what's too much. Or now I'm like, I don't know, feel like I know everything. How many genders are we going to have? I go, I don't know how many people need that,
Yeah, as many as we need.
I don't know. Whatever someone feels that they are, I respect and honor who they say they are. Yeah. Why is that a problem? I mean,
well, that's the key word is respect. We should respect each other.
We should. And so I try to tell them that, like my definition of gender, you got to understand that how we're taught is a whole package. That what you're given this heterosexual male-female package that is all-encompassing. Yeah. When actually, that's not really how we are as humans. So you have presenting, like you were talking about the outside. That's how you present. I present basically male. Right? Yeah. My biology is not male. My biology is intersex. So that's what correct. Still by gender. Still haven't got out of that.
It's a little ambiguous, right? Your biology is somewhat ambiguous.
I have a couple things. One, I have nipples the size of a female. And I also have almost no testosterone. So it's definitely female. There could be some other things going on. I don't know the biology. I have a hidden penis, which basically means if I took my pants off, it would look like I have a pair of balls and no penis, like it's gone.
Okay.
I mean, like it goes inside. Looks just complete, like zero. Not, but when I'm hard, it's like 5.5 inches. It totally comes out. But But one of the things also is the underside of it. I can't remember what it's called now. It's a long name, hyper something. I don't know, but it's very common. It's one of the most common intersex things where the bottom part of the penis is actually part where the vagina was. What happens is it closes up, and it normally I guess seals up and becomes the penis. Used to be the vagina. So what happened to mine, not having all the gender stuff, it didn't really close up. Still opening at the bottom.
Yeah.
So they sewed that up to make it normal. which they commonly do, which to me is offensive. You should ask me before you start surgery on my body. I mean, maybe I would have wanted that anyways. I don't know. How do I know? What? And then you wouldn't look normal. To who? My sexual partners? You mean you're I mean, it's not like we have our genitals out in front of everyone. So I mean, who would I be offending? My sexual partners? I mean, you're deciding how my body should be and look. So yes, that's so those two things very obvious that I have something intersex going on. Like I said, my nipples alone, they're too big for what should be appropriate to a male body. But iffy. But it's real easy when you look at my genitals. But even then, like I tell people, someone could be genderqueer and be intersex, and it be all in the head. Just like people that are trans, it can be. The fact that I'm genderqueer is because probably, or a result of me being intersex. But it could be just like a trans, that there's something else going on of why I feel that way.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a direct relation. Like the doctor said, probably is. But, I mean, I would have to do way more genetics testing and stuff. I just stopped because it costs money to find out, to accept me that I already do. So I was like, I can pay, because he goes, we can pay more tests and stuff. I'm like, yeah. But, it was funny, though, the shock, though, when I found out, because I didn't really know this stuff until I went to college, and then I learned stuff, and I went to the doctor thinking that I was this really sexual guy and, manly man, sort of. I mean, I had way more opinion about what I was than probably was justified, but I go to the doctor, and then he tells me, testing my testosterone, he tells me it's lower, it's very, very low, and I was like, wow, that sounds odd, what does that mean? And he goes, well, it's lower than most women. And I told him, wow, you didn't have to do that, because that really hurt me, back then. Yeah. Not now, but back then I was like, so you're saying I'm not a guy? I mean, and that is what he was saying. You're really not totally a guy. And that was like, but it was devastating. Back then, because you live your whole life thinking you're a guy, and then find out, not really. Not totally. And so that was devastating, because I felt like, well, then who am I? Am I not even a person? I mean, I'm not normal, and it was very, very shaming to me. And to me, I mean, I talk about it openly now, but it was the first time I didn't want to know about it myself. I wish I could have forgot about it then, not now. And now I'm really glad, because it makes me feel so much more comfortable, and then I can also talk and help other people. But it was very traumatizing and shaming to find out that I wasn't what I thought I was. It was But it really just shouldn't be anything bad, because the problem is, the reason I felt shame, because our society tells us that it's only male and female. So it starts with a flawed, it starts with an error message, on the computer to begin with. It's already wrong.
The system is flawed.
The system is flawed. Same thing, with, when it comes to sexuality, people, are gay or bi or pan or whatever, and that's not flawed. That's all part of the same thing. The problem is we have these two little labels, and then we think, that this or this one label, and we think this fits everything. No, it doesn't. Never has. It's not some new thing, you know, that people are trying out, you know. No, they're just admitting stuff now. They're just being themselves. How wonderful we live in a society where we're starting to actually be ourselves.
Right. Yeah, and it's, you know, why not? What harm is there in just accepting people for what they are and who they are? You know, it's not a bad thing. But people are afraid, you know,
Yes.
they're afraid of what they don't understand.
They are. Yeah, in fact, there's a quote I have that says, "What we don't understand, we come to fear. That which we fear, we learn to hate. That which we hate, we seek to destroy."
Yep. Yeah. And that's just really...
And it's sad. So the whole point is that in that cycle of downward spiraling, you know, thinking, the object is to stop fearing. We need to stop fearing. And why we started fearing is because we didn't understand. So what we need to start doing is wanting to understand, which is like why I think, you know, you're doing a great thing. You've done a great thing about understanding, you know, since being young. And I think it's also one of the problems why religion will always be negative. It doesn't want to understand. It's too busy telling answers that are wrong.
Right. It wants to be right. It doesn't want to... They just want people just to follow blindly and not ask questions.
Right.
You know? That's why, you know, when was it? Like in the Middle Ages, they didn't want people to be educated.
Oh, no.
You know? Only the priests could be educated. You
Boy.
know? And I can even I remember my mother telling me, you shouldn't read the Bible because you know, we can't understand that. We let the priests interpret that, you know? It's like too much education is a dangerous thing. Like,
oh yeah, well for a long time, even in America, women were not allowed to learn stuff. Only enough education to just, you know, barely, you know, do anything, because the whole point is women didn't need to. All you needed to do was be a baby machine. What do you need to learn the education for?
Right, yeah. Oh man, that's sad.
It is sad.
Oh well.
But it is changing. So, is there any groups, atheist groups you go to? Like, I go to a lot of meetups. Right.
I don't know of any atheist groups around here.
Aren't you near San Francisco? There's got to be a crap load.
Yeah. I'm sure there is. I mean, that's a little too far. I live just from San Francisco for it to be inconvenient to go there easily. But I'm sure there are in the city. Yeah. But I don't know of anything locally here.
But
if there was, I would love to meet with other like-minded people if it was, you know.
I'll get your city and I'll go do a search for you, because I know about Meetup. I've found ones, or I can tell you how to do it. What you do is you put your city, and then you say atheist meetups.
Oh, okay.
And then it will tell you you click on the one that says in your in area or near to you, and it knows ones that are near to you, and you'd be surprised at probably how much is out there.
Oh, that'd be great. I'll do that. Yeah.
I find it to be really a great thing to meet other people. It's really helped me to grow. Sometimes you meet people that don't agree with you, but you know, you can grow sometimes from that too.
Yeah. Healthy debate as long as it's respectful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this has been cool. I have to go meet my wife for dinner.
No problem.
I think she might have tried to call me.
Okay. Well, it's been a pleasure meeting you, and I enjoyed the interview and having a chance to talk with you.
Yeah.
And I appreciate being your friend on Facebook.
Great. Yeah. I really enjoyed meeting you, and talking with you has been awesome. If you want to do it again sometime, that would be cool.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
All right. Well, bye.
All right.